What's up, everybody? Let me know when you can hear me. We can get going. Hey, when y'all let me know you can hear me, we can get going. Yep, y'all got me tight. Sweet, let's get to it. Alright, awesome. We will get to pre-market prep. Right, I'm just going to work under the default assumption you guys know about GimEdge, about options and market analysis, all that good stuff. If you don't worry. Feel free to pop a question in the chat. We can get to it at the end. And right, got a I'll point you guys to our free course and all that good stuff that'll accelerate your learning curve and whatever as we get going. So, right, SPX game plan, where we always start. Sorry, I got some of my eye. Right, we go with the full complex just so we can kind of understand globally what's happened, because a lot of people, right, it's like a laser in on 0DT, which is fine, right, if you're just intraday trader, but there is a whole world of non-0DT trading out there that we like to get an understanding of as well. So that's where we go over the full complex of the SPX-A. Right, this is your longer term, slower moving capital, your monthly, your quarterly expirations, all that good stuff. Here we're just looking at next week's expiration, which is monthly expiration. Call dominated above the spot price, really no change from prior day. Good to see. Net GEX 21,000, so not overextended by any means to the upside. Really key thing here is 66.85 is the key kind of transition level that we've identified. So we just want to see spot price remain above that level. And then obviously 6,800, kind of a massive upside target. You'll see that same target on SPXP complex as well. Really the only other things to note here, looking at our net stat, again, this is just a summary of our 3D surface models. If you guys want me to go more into detail, happy to do that. But charm, right, net is going to be supportive. So that just means, as we continue to move lower, it'll be supportive. There was a good comment in here. Right, we will not collapse in price under these conditions, but we may go down, right? Important difference there. If that doesn't make sense to you, please let me know. I can go more into that. Yeah, really not a ton else to say there. Just kind of positive, delta positioned. Also encapsulated by not net, but our delta balance command. Again, options markets forward looking. That's what this does. Is we're looking out into future expirations to see how people are positioned. Above and below spot price, bullish. We're above zero. Means calls are in control. Looking at the net delta line itself, the blue line that's railed at 1, out in time for the next 5 expirations. So that is, basically as bullish as it can get. So yeah, and the main thing we're gonna be looking at here is just the right-hand plane, right? That's above spot price. So your out of the money call speculation comes, and when we have turning points in the market, out of the money call speculation is the first thing to be removed. So we're going to be focused on this to see if we see any evidence of that eroding and starting to, break below zero, which, again, indicates that out of money speculation is leaving. And we would see that in this as well, this being the SPX-A complex where, above spot price, all this net delta column would turn to red. Right now it is green, so obviously not the case. Moving to SPXP. Same story, call dominated above the spot price. We're above the transition zone. Good to see there. Have a little bit of difference between transition zones in terms of the bottom and the top. Not a huge difference. Generally, we see those aligned. So just keep that in mind, but not too terrible there. 67.25 top of the DEX transition zone, 67.35 top of the GEX transition zone. So, relatively similar. That's just kind of the key zone that we want to see maintained there. Not really a ton else to say. Obviously, 6750. Looking at the distribution of speculation, 50, 75, and then up to 6,800 is again kind of the key upside level. That was the same with SPX-A. Yeah, I mean, really nothing as a snapshot of time. Call dominated above the spot price, bullish. Not a ton else to say there. We just start being concerned if we start losing the transition zone. So something to pay attention to there. Right now in the pre-market, SPX is at 67.50. So well above the, well, I shouldn't say well above, but above the transition zones right now. Looking at true delta, true gamma zeros, trending higher, making all-time highs, looks fine. Price is above both of those, so exactly what you want to see there. Delta balance, same thing, above zero. One thing to note is next Tuesday, next Monday's a holiday. Next Tuesday, seeing a little bit of weakness coming to the market. Still above zero, so that's fine, but you can see it's coming off a little bit, so just something to be cognizant of. But net, looks fine for now. Going to 0 DTE, and I know I'm kind of going fast here, so if you guys have questions, let me know. Just trying to get this in before market opens. Here, looking at 0 DTE, starting with transition zones as always. Drunkard-Taylor zone is 67.50, 67.15. Those are the two kind of key pillars. And then DEX transition zone is 67.45 and 67.30. So you can think of those just right. Again, key transition zones. Another way I like to think about that, especially a good way to visualize it, is this isn't the exact way to look at it, but it's a good way to think about it. As when we talk about gradients and the points in the gradients where how we identify those, the Drunkard-Taylor range, right? It's when we're pushing a boulder up a hill, and it's kind of the point where we crest that peak and we start to go over it. And once we get over it, then it's going to be easier to continue for the boulder to fall down the hill, meaning advance in spot price, assuming we're going up, or go down, as reduce in spot price, assuming that we're going down. And so this is net delta 3D surface model. So it's not exactly the synthetic net open interest that the Drunkard-Taylor range is based off of, but it's close enough for this conversation. So you can see right here, when we're moving up this peak right here, right, that's tough to move up, and especially to crest that hill. But once we're able to crest that hill, then you can see how we can just fall down that mountain, right? And it just so happens this crest here is 67.50, which is close to the Drunkard-Taylor range. But anyways, that's just a way to think about it, right? And then as we move down the hill, getting over that crest, kind of falling. And so once you're able to break above that crest, then it's really just up to the call of the put speculators if we're going to advance higher or lower from there. And you also flip right those strikes, because moneyness matters. And by that I mean going from out of the money calls to flipping those in the money, all that good stuff. But with that, again, then we have all these large name levels, kind of if-then statements of what we do. A couple that we want to note is obviously looking at the distribution of speculation. COI is up at 68.75. Not realistic at all to reach that today. 68.25. Again, hard to reach that level today, but if we do, very unlikely that we break above that, just given we have almost 29,000 contracts sitting there. Then working our way lower, I mean, you can just see there's a ton of speculation open above spot price, which you're going to see is why Charm is a little bit not supporting the price move today, meaning all else equal, nothing happens and you're going to have negative deltas coming into the complex just by way of those out of money calls decaying. So that is where we're going to be facing a headwind to open. So that's where that call speculation is going to be key to see come into the market to help propel us higher today. And the two ways that we look at that intraday is, one, our market trend model, right? This is a multi-time frame model, so we have long-term, intermediate, and short-term. Short-term, which 0 DTE focused traders should pay most attention to, is the cumulative tick, which is a solid white line, which is just a representation of intraday buying and selling. And then the filter tick, which is significant buying or selling, right? This is the raw cumulative tick. No, it doesn't give any credence to volumes of transactions, versus the filter tick needs significant volume to move it. So obviously yesterday had significant buying come in throughout the morning, or no, that was Friday. Sorry, yesterday was a very muted day. This would be Monday, Friday, Thursday. It's like Wednesday, significant buying. So we want to see something like that if we break above the DEX transition zone, or the Drunkard Taylor range, sorry. The other thing, that we look at, we have all of our intraday volume analysis of tools. Vol-Im is the most important one that we look, or not the most common one referenced throughout the session in the Discord. Just quickly on this, right? SPX 0DT volume, we're looking at the centroids on every 5-minute basis. We aggregate that volume, find the middle point of that distribution, plot that centroid, so we can understand what the behavior of speculation is throughout the session. So like on yesterday, right? Call speculation fairly flat, put speculation trending higher. So this is just a classic pattern, which is the sideways to higher movement in price itself. Right, but if we're gonna see kind of a ripping move higher, we want to see that call speculation trend higher, put speculation trend higher, than vice versa to the downside, just so you can see like how this tool is useful intraday. Here is what it looks like intraday. So yeah, right. And if we understand what speculators have been doing from any point in time, from the open to any point in time, so this is like 12:15. Then we can understand what is going to happen throughout the rest of the session. We can project out what is going to happen the rest of the session, all things equal, right? So that's kind of the utility of this tool. Obviously, these lines are crossing, but they never actually, that never actually happens. Just as time progresses, you can see those chopsticks just kind of unwind themselves. Like here, you can just see them unwinding themselves. Obviously, the put side's getting a little noisy here. Call side, trending high. I think we closed yesterday at 67.40. So really starting to give you a good representation, kind of as the London closes into the American close, is when we find that tool most useful. But in terms of our pre-market prep, that's kind of it, right? Zooming out on a swing trading time frame, looking bullish. Everything looks fine there on a 0DT time frame. All else equal, going to be a little bit of headwinds moving higher today. First stop is going to be above 67.50. Then from there, we're really just going to be looking to see if that, intraday call buying steps in. So if you guys have any questions on 0DT stuff, let me know. I lost the YouTube chat. So if we have those 0DT questions, we can get to our swing trading stuff now. Swing trading, right, all starts with our SPX game plan, because that just gives us kind of a global macro view of if the environment is conducive or not for swing trading. So SPX-A, SPX-P full complex, yes, we are call dominated above the transition, so that is a conducive environment for swing trading to the upside. Market trend model, looking at this, our longer term bullish momentum signal, for lack of a better term, right, that was turned on the 1st. So last week, been trending higher ever since. Thing to note is yesterday, cumulative tick started to break below the railroad tracks. So that's generally a good kind of take profit signal, take partial profits. Think of that as kind of a pullback in the context of an uptrend right now. So really not right. There's no reason to be shorting the market here, nothing like that. It's just kind of being cautious on putting new longs here. We want to see that cumulative tick continue to expand higher today, and in the coming days as well. We want to see filter tick coming as well. But net, everything looks fine here on a longer term time frame. Then right, the two automated strategy we have the P2P strategy, which is P trans plus GEX. Those are two key levels that we've developed. P trans is our entry level, plus GEX is our take profit level. It's just all based off of positioning within the options markets. And we can see here was, sorry, I was just reading that for the first time. But these are entry and exit scans that we run the night before, so last night what you were going to be doing when you enter today. All trades are done at the open. So Amazon, Boeing, Tesla were all entries. AMD, Berkshire, TSM were all closes. We've been running this strategy live since July of 23. You can see the results here. Positive expectancy, very high win rate strategy, all that good stuff. We have a full write-up on our blog. You go to Gamma Edge US, go up here to blog, P trends plus GEX strategy, learn all about that there. You know, significantly outperforms SPY, really any time frame since 2013, because that's when our data starts. So feel free to give that a read if you want to. Also, if you're new to Gamma Edge, new to options market analysis, first time watching this YouTube stream, again, if you go to gammaedge.us, click on free courses, Gamma Edge Fast Pass. This was created to really get any new member up to speed. So this is everything a paid member gives in terms of the education, the frameworks, the strategies, all that good stuff. You know, sign up for free. You guys can give that a go. Read. You know, all about the tools, our terms, all that good stuff. If you know what we've been talking about today is of interest to you or not. So I was talking about P2P. We also have the wheel. So the wheel strategy, right? Nothing new there. Very common option strategy, but what's not common is how we apply our options market analysis to it. So we're looking for those call-dominated stocks. And then we have an institutional momentum filter, which is the Minervini trend template. Mark Minervini, you know, famous individual investor, very successful. You know, it's just his way of identifying stocks that have institutional momentum behind it. So we apply that with our call-dominated structure, and that gives us a very good list of candidates for, you know, selling cash secured puts in. And then if we do get assigned, then they're quality stocks. So really no concern there. Strategy right now, you know, I think we have a couple hundred trades in the bank, you know, less than 10% assignment rate, you know, 80+% win rate, 2.5x profit factor on the conservative side. So yeah, again, all these stocks are posted for you every day, including the exact expiration and the exact strike to sell based off of return of a return on options that we want, right? We want more than 1%. The RU, I completely forgot what that stands for right now. Brain frog. But yeah, and then the expiration, right? Normally 1 to 2 weeks. All that good stuff. So yeah, that's there. And then the last one is, you know, in the swing plan. I forgot to post something today. But yeah, this is just just more watch list that I put together. Again, it's just, you know, very similar to the methodology for the wheel, just in terms of finding those call dominated stocks, you know, above 2150 moving average, just because that's what the market pays attention to. So, you know, no reason we shouldn't be paying attention to that as well. Gives us a good list of stocks. And then here's a heat map as well. So again, what this is showing us is stocks above the x-axis are below the P-trans, or above the P-trans level, right, which is our kind of entry level. And then if they are to the left of, if they are above the x-axis, that means that they are below plus GEX, which are the profit targets, so that's good. And then if they're to the left of the y-axis, that means that they're above P-trans, which is good, because they're kind of above our entry level. And so what we want to look is for those high risk to reward trades. So that'd be, you know, close to the y-axis but away from the x-axis, which means that they're close to P-trans but have a good distance to go to the upside profit target. So we quickly know if we're wrong, and there's plenty of room for it to run to the upside. So like Southwest is an example, you know, it's 7% to the upside, you know, 1% to the downside, something like that. Hood, same thing, 7% to the upside, like 1% to the downside. So you guys get an idea. Just another good way of visualizing kind of all those, you know, massive call dominated stocks, and, you know, if there's good risk to reward in the name or not. So that's that. Let me get back to the YouTube chat here. Let me know if you guys have any questions or not. Happy to go through, you know, individual tickers. I entered Google, entered Tesla yesterday. All those are fine for now. I need to actually update the scripts for today. Yeah, so this is just a script right there. Very easy to update, takes like 5 seconds. So yeah, Tesla finding support right at COTMP makes sense. That's kind of a downside monetization level, so it's exactly where you want to see it hold. Looking at Google, I mean, holding COTMP as well, so good to see above P-trans. Everything looks fine there. Apple holding P-trans. Let's see, Amazon holding P-trans. Meta, found a little bit of support at P-trans. I get, we're 7 minutes into the session right now. Palantir finding support at P-trans. Plug. Shit, wrong one. Plug. I doubt we have that in the script. Plug. I mean, it's a $4 stock, so, I mean, honestly don't really care about that, just to be blunt. We focused on, the institutional quality stocks, not the super meme stocks. So, yeah, I mean, it's got 1.6 million open interest in there at 1.7, so that's fine. Like 5 is clearly the upside level of interest right now, so yeah, just pay attention there. But yeah, I mean, don't care too much about Plug, to be honest with you. We just don't, actively trade meme stocks and all that good stuff. Not saying that's a meme stock per se, but it's a $4 stock, so definitely subject to a lot of probably news events and all that good stuff. Sorry, there was another question asked about gold, GLD. Yeah, I think to keep in mind about commodities too is there's like supply demand factors as well, as opposed to just purely the options market, which like a normal just equity that doesn't have like a physical commodity underlying it. So just keep in mind of that, but it can still inform kind of how folks are positioned in the name. Let's have a look. Yeah, call dominated above the spot price. I mean, very call dominated. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a ton to say here. Like, yeah, 370 kind of the upside target right now. I mean, there's a ton of positioning sitting there, so kind of the first key upside level I see there. But yeah, I mean, definitely call dominated for sure. Let's see what the... Here, I'm just pulling up the GEX ratio real quick. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the GEX ratio, right, think of it like a put-call ratio, but a little bit superior because it has a time element because we're using gamma. So it's cumulative call gamma relative to cumulative put gamma in the structure. And, right now we can see over the last 100 days, like this ratio is frankly extended to the upside. So that just means that there's really been never been more call speculation than there has been yesterday in the name. So kind of hard to get an entry there today. And we had kind of have a significant pullback, which isn't crazy. I mean, we're still near the top of it. So, if you're a bull, like if you're already in the name, that's great, but definitely bullish for sure. But yeah, it's just shocking. It's GEX ratios that high. That's crazy. Is IBIT worth looking at? Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be. Bitcoin ETF. I gotta imagine it's probably ripped like gold. Yeah. I think it's Bitcoin's at like 125 grand, right? Let's pull this up real quick. Yeah, I bet. I mean, again, bullish. Call dominated. 70 is kind of where the short-term speculation's at, so we're above that. Not ideal to see, but in the coming days, we want to see 70 shift higher out in time. Let's just do the GR for. Yeah, I mean, look, this ratio is just ripped as well to the upside, so definitely overheated here. But what's overbought. You know, crashes higher happen from overbought conditions, and crashes lower happen from oversold conditions. So just because it ripped doesn't mean it can't rip more, but definitely has had a heck of a move right now. So you know, a little bit of resting period would be warranted here. Let me know if you guys have any other names you want to go through real quick. Yeah, nice move in Palantir for sure. I got knocked out of this name last week actually, but that's how she goes. Yeah, I'm just gonna rifle through names here. So, man, UNH. UNH. Yeah, I mean, UNH has been one we've made some decent money on lately. Oh. Getting the crap there. If you guys got any other tickers you want to look at, let me know. If not, then we can, you know, cut it off here in a minute. Microsoft, nice move yesterday. Snap, what a train wreck. Snap losing P-Trans. Be cognizant of that. Robinhood. Oh, I shouldn't write up P-Trans right now. MU with a crazy move. That's crazy. Jeez. Wasn't told. Wow, PayPal with a nice move. Probably that CEO announcement. Uber, nice move yesterday. Oh. UPS maybe making a turn. We'll see. Nice move there. Google. Yeah, we looked at Google earlier. I'll go back to it in a second. Alright, we're starting to get down into the crap. Let's get out of that. Yeah, we have bear list too. I put in that swing trading channel every day. You know, even if you don't go short, these are just stocks you want to avoid. They're put dominated, you know, trending lower, so obviously easy to understand why you want to be avoiding these stocks. Yeah, just keep that in mind, right? Yeah, all these stocks look like crap. You want to look at Google? Yep, Google right here. It looks fine, right above P-Trans. You know, a little bit of a pullback this morning, but, you know, that's fine. So everything looks okay there. Just look at its dashboard real quick. Yeah, it's fine. You know, transition. 245. I want to see that level hold. Yeah, same thing right here. So yeah, that's kind of it right there. Yeah, if we get to lose prior day low, I'd probably get out of the trade there. So we'll just see how it progresses. Tesla looking fine though, holding, moving higher, looks good. I missed XYZ. Ballinger. Oh. So, all right, sweet. Well, I'm gonna end it there, get into the Discord. So I appreciate the time, everyone. We'll talk either later today or tomorrow. So y'all have a good one. Bye.